Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make. The choices other people make. Why we choose to ignore the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, addiction, mental illness, and much more. What role do they play in relationships? Follow me each week as we discuss these topics with anonymous guests and experts to hopefully become better humans, resulting in better choices. Like I say, been there, still doing that. Now on to the show. Hello, Anonymous Andrew with you again. So it's a Friday night, and I am home. Alone. And watching TV while I ate my dinner. Had a very interesting week. My last episode was 5 or 6 days ago. And I do have lined up a couple of interviews. Again, tomorrow I have somebody that is going to come on and share a story with us of gaslighting and a very interesting dating story. I've recently been thinking, I think I told in the last couple of episodes that I did open up another dating app. It's been 6 months, folks, and the summer is peeking its head up, right? It's mid-April, towards the end of April. The weather's starting to get warm. While I like to be single and I'm getting comfortable in that position, there are going to be 3 or 4 months of this good weather, and I refuse to sit home on either a Friday, Saturday night with nothing to do. Yes, I have friends. Yes, I have a social circle, and I'll be using that to entertain myself. So I jumped on, but I did jump on a dating app more out of curiosity and more to do some research, because ultimately I am going to get back out there. I am going to start dating again at some point when either any number of variables think I'm ready. Either my higher power, my therapist, my support system, maybe more my inner self, think that it's time to start dating again. And I'm not dating to get into a relationship, dating to have company of a female companion, to share an ice cream on the boardwalk, to go watch a blockbuster movie in these new theaters they have now, to share a dinner on a dock. I do live by the water. There's lots of restaurants down here where you can eat dinner during sunset or twilight, whatever, and it's a beautiful sunset, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to bring up Instagram again. It's been another exciting week on Instagram for me. Somebody very close to me sent me a reel today from that I guess he came across on his feed. I went to reproduce that reel because I want it says exactly how I feel. This and I'm going to share it with you in a moment. Not knowing Instagram's terms of service, I don't know if you can take a reel and repost it or re-record that reel in your own words. But I went ahead and did it, and then when I went to try to post it, it gave me a warning. So last thing I need is Instagram to shut me down. Then I don't have a venue to reach my audience other than the podcast. So, but I found out who made the reel, and I reached out to him and asked him if I, with permission, could I use his words, or could I re-record them and make my own reel. And then I looked down at his profile, and he happens to be a life coach. So I also asked him if he would come on the podcast and do an interview. And I am still waiting for the reply, because that was just sent maybe a half hour ago. In the meantime, I would like to read you something that came from his reel. And I'm going to give him credit, because I'm not plagiarizing or stealing other people's material. The gentleman's name is Michael Ganay, and he is on Instagram, and he's a life coach. Actually, his profile doesn't say the words life coach, but he does one-on-one coaching, and his reels are about breakups and heartbreak. So in some fashion, he's coaching people through breakups, I'm guessing. I'd like to talk to this gentleman and talk to him about coming on the podcast, and then interview him on the podcast. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. But I'd like to read to you what he said in one of his reels. And I'm going to start now. To the potential version of you that I fell in love with, you will be missed. To the actual version of you that manipulated, gaslighted, and cheated on me, giving me trust issues, making me question everything, you took a piece of me when you left. That's okay. You can have it. That person is not welcome here. That version allowed you to use me the way you did, and I say to you, never again. I actually did reword that a little bit. Okay, I did add a couple of words to that. I'm not looking for any problems with anybody. So if somebody has a copyright or somebody has a quote and it's their quote, I'm not one to steal it. I did contact him and ask him if I could re-record that using some different words. And again, I'm waiting to hear back from him. I did give him credit. So, but what I just read to you is exactly how I feel. And the episode with my son, he spoke about that we fall in love with the version of people that have potential, that we think they have potential. We never actually fall in love with the person. It's the potential of that person. And when that real person emerges, we talked about this in the past episodes, when the true colors come out of the persona. So to the potential version of you that I fell in love with, you will be missed. And that is true. I will miss that version of her that had potential. But the actual version of her that was manipulative and gaslighting and cheated on me and lied to me You gave me trust issues, making me question everything. Everything. I don't trust anybody now. I'm going to segue into dating apps. So as I mentioned, I just started one, just popped on, and it number one, it's horrible, absolutely horrible out there in so many ways. And tomorrow, or I should just say this weekend, in the next few days, I hope to air an episode that I'm going to be interviewing somebody, and we're going to be talking about dating apps. But what I've experienced so far has been, I've been scammed. Well, I shouldn't say scammed. Potentially scammed. I've had several profiles of women contact me. One of them literally threw her phone number at me and said, "Hey, call me." Red flag. You don't do that, right? When you get on a dating app, you don't. If you match, you're supposed to text each other and get to know that person a little bit, excuse me, before you exchange phone numbers. I don't think I said more than 15 words to this person between the like, the match, and the message that was sent. And then she's given me her phone number. I Googled that phone number, and sure enough, it belonged to a modeling agency. And then it had some affiliation with the country Turkey. Right, so clearly it's some sort of a scam or something to suck you in with a beautiful woman and then whatever the scam is. So that's my first experience on dating apps post the breakup. Then I got another one. And the second one wasn't as forward, but this person also wanted to jump off the dating app quickly. But this goes back to what I just read to you. I don't trust anybody. This is going to be one hell of a year going forward. So to my ex, thank you for putting so much doubt in my head because of what you did. I just don't trust anybody now. And let's just take aside, family and close friends. But now going forward, meeting anybody new on or off the dating apps, I am not going to trust. And that's a problem. That is going to be a problem. Because I'm going to meet a nice lady, again, on or off the apps in the next, 3 to 6 months. And we're going to go on a date and 2 and 3 and possibly start getting involved into some sort of a dating situationship. But I'm going to have these trust issues. I can feel it already. I brought it up with my therapist. I had therapy, what's today? Well, today's Friday. So I had it, 3 nights ago. And I mentioned it to my therapist, the one that does the EMDR. I said, look, I'm not going to be able to trust anybody going forward, which is part of the healing process and the EMDR therapy that I'm doing. I'm going to need to start. Oh, God. You go through your whole life in today's society, and I guess it depends where you grow up. If you grow up in the urban areas, your trust issues are your guard is always up. if you live in a big city like LA, New York City, Chicago, where you're walking the streets, nobody's guard is down. Your guard is always up. If you live in a suburban area or a small town and you're brought up knowing everybody, or your trust is... I was brought up in between those two. I was brought up between a large city and a rural area. And so it would be suburbia. And I grew up trusting everybody. And that was 30, 40, 50 years ago. Now at the ripe age of 63, I feel as if I have to start all over again. Trusting, not the dating. That's a given. But these dating apps, one of them, all you need to log in is your phone number. One of my accounts was hacked 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to get into why or how I know, but it was compromised. Well, I'll tell you how. I got an email from them saying, please change your password. Well, okay, it was another app. But I got an email from the dating app saying, please change your password. We suspect unusual activity on your account. And I knew that. And then a week later, I get this lady with the phone number. And then it happened again a couple of days ago. And then 2 nights ago, I got a woman who super liked me. Super like. Not just like, super like. It's just uncanny. It's I live in the 21st century. I get it. And I'm in the IT world. So technology and the change of culture and times, I'm going with it. All right. I'm not a rebel. I'm not even going to get into the politics and all that, the cultural stuff that's going on today. But I'm rolling with the punches. I'm rolling with the mainstream. My motto is live and let live. What you do in your house, behind your doors, is your business, as long as it is not hurting a child or an animal or a person for that matter, but two consenting adults, whatever conversation you're having, whatever political thoughts or whatever floats your boat, okay? As long as it's within the law, and even that, I kind of, you want to snort cocaine in your bedroom? Go ahead, do it. Yeah, and I can't believe I just said that because I'm in recovery, but I'm just giving you an example. I'm not advocating that. It's your business, but it's against the law. I just don't trust. You go to a profile on these dating apps, and some of the dating apps, they will tell you that they're photo verified. So the person had to prove that they are who they are, so you can't get catfished. Some of them verify the phone number with that account. Some of them, they have all these verifications, but there's not one single dating app that has all of the above. For example, Bumble has photo verification. Match has phone verification, but does not have photo verification. So I don't know if the photo I'm looking at is really the person who I'm talking to. This woman liked me, or we matched, I don't remember, a couple nights ago, and I sent her something, a quick little message, and she wrote back, "Hey, I'm getting off this dating app. Here's my phone number. Let's chat. I don't want to text." Red flag. You're not supposed to jump right off the dating apps into the real world not knowing who this person is. I'm not giving my phone number to somebody. She literally said, "Let's exchange numbers." And I felt like saying, "Well, you go first. You give me your number first." But then I realized, then if she does, I don't know what number she's giving me. She can make up a number, and then I give her my number, and now a scammer, spammer, or ex-girlfriend, whatever, whoever has my number. So I'm not, I'm a little bit smart. As they say, I wasn't born yesterday. But this is the horrors of the dating world. This is kind of why, I don't know if I should really say this. This is why when I say stick with the devil you know, because getting back out there is just horrendous. Months, weeks and months of weeding through fake profiles, obnoxious people who make laundry lists on their profiles. If you don't have a passport, swipe left. If you don't believe in global warming, swipe left. If you're a Republican or liberal, or it was unbelievable what some of these women, and somebody brought to my attention, hey, these are women who have lived a life and they are comfortable with where they are and they know what they want and they know who they want, and that's their deal breakers. That's their non-negotiables. And I'll give them that. But to me, that's a non-negotiable. If you got a laundry list of like, do not contact me or swipe right on me if you're A, B, and C, then I'm not. Even if if a woman's profile and she was beautiful and lived 10 miles from me, but she said to me, I'm just going to make this up. I'm not saying this is what I believe in. If she said to me in the profile, if you don't have a passport and you voted for Trump and you don't believe in global warming, swipe left. I would swipe left if I did believe in global warming and I didn't vote for Trump and I had a passport. I would swipe left anyway, because I don't want a woman who wants... it sounds contradictory. This woman clearly knows what she wants, and that's good for her. But I can just imagine down the road, if she's got a laundry list on her profile, there's going to be a lot more. I'm rambling again, but this is what I do when I'm sitting home and I'm just disgusted with Netflix. And by the way, I put down Netflix. It's all of them. Apple, Hulu. I have Paramount Plus. Even Amazon Prime. They're actually the worst. There's just nothing to watch. Yeah. There's a couple series that I'm watching. I'll tell you one thing. Netflix does the one thing that I like, that I guess is why they get you to keep coming back is that you can binge an entire season, or you can watch all the episodes. I'm watching an episode on Apple right now. It looks really good. It's with Jennifer Garner. It's called The Last Thing He Told Me. And it's, from the beginning, it grabbed me. So I'm recommending it. Maybe I'll start a podcast on movies and series reviews. Just kidding. But here's the problem. They release an episode a week. So it's like the old days. You watch 45 minutes of the episode, and then you got to wait a whole week to see the next episode. At least with Netflix, you can sit down and watch 3, 4, 5 in a row, and then if you want to take a break for a day or two, so it's the only thing Netflix really has going for it. All these other platforms, Amazon and Apple and Paramount, you got to wait to the next week. So it's... I really just jumped on here now just to read this thing I found on Instagram. And I always go off on a tangent. But that's because I can. That's what I do. All right. The last time I did this was, I think it was last Friday. I think I told you guys, it was last Friday or the week before, I told you that I was going to go do some self-love in bed. And no, not that kind of self-love. I was going to go eat some chocolate chip cookies and watch some TV, and then I was up all night long. Didn't go to bed till 2:30 in the morning. Because that night, whatever I was blabbering about on the episode kept me up all night. I am not going to do that tonight. Tonight I'm going to crawl into bed, and there is one episode of one series that I'm watching that was released today. I'm going to go watch that, and then I'm going to just roll over and go to bed. So tomorrow or this weekend, I'm also going to stop making promises because I've been listening to my podcast, all the episodes back. I need to, because I need to see where I'm going wrong. Like too many ums and too many phrases that I repeat. I want to get better at my enunciation and my choice of words, and stop with the whatever. I'm just listening so I can become a better podcaster. But in doing so, I've noticed that I promised. I said, hey, I got a big interview this weekend, and then the interview never pans out. And I've talked about this. People cancel at the last minute for whatever reason. But I do have 2 appointments in the next couple of days with 2 different people. So if they show up, if they keep their Zoom appointment, I'm going to have a couple of episodes for this week. And they're both going to be good if I can get them on. So, anyway, I'm babbling again. We'll cover the dating world. I need to cover the trust issue that I have. We're going to cover. We're going to continue to hear people's stories about gaslighting. This is a big topic, big problem, and I just don't think it's being talked about enough. In the real world, opiate addiction and people dying from fentanyl overdoses, you're hearing it in the news every day. And there was a time, and it's still going on, where DWIs were a big thing, and these are all horrible things and things that they should be talked about. And then there's the abusive partner in a relationship, whether it's a male hitting a woman or a woman hitting a male or or in a gay relationship, whatever. It's the physical violence. Then you hear about that. You hear about mental illness. As soon as there's a shooting, up comes the term mental illness. I honestly believe that this gaslighting manipulation of people, it's not talked about enough, because wait till you hear if the person that I have lined up in a couple of days to talk, he has an incredible story of what he went through. It is so scary to him. The only way that he would come on my podcast is not only do I change his name, which I always do, you're always anonymous, but that I also alter the pitch of his voice. He's that scared of his exes. This is a problem, folks. This is, this is almost role reversal or gender reversal, because this is a male who's terrified of an ex-girlfriend. Nobody's talking about this stuff. Yeah, I know. You could search your podcast platform. There are other podcasters talking about this, but they're not mainstream. Even my podcast. I mean, what do I have? 500 actually, I think it's up to like 700 downloads and maybe 30 followers. I know nobody's going to hear this, but maybe someday. I just want to get the word out there that this is a real problem. People come out of these relationships traumatized. Their whole world is turned upside down, and it takes them 6 months to 2 years to heal, depending on how long the relationship was. The trauma that they went through, the trust issues they have, the self-worth or the lack of, goes on for... I'm post 6 months now, and I'm still fucked up. And I don't see any relief, that proverbial light at the end of the tunnel. I don't see it. Yeah, so you might say, well, then why am I on a dating app? I'm not ready for that yet. Because I'm not going to sit here and just binge Netflix on Friday and Saturday nights. I'm not. I'm going to go on dates. I'm just not going to get into relationships. I'm going to go dating. I'm going to go out with a nice lady and have a dinner and look at the sunset and, yeah, buy her an ice cream on the boardwalk. If she wants one. I'm not even looking for sex. That's so far off my radar at this point. And I think if you listen to what happened to me with my last sexual encounter with my ex-girlfriend, I'm not going near a vagina. It's just not happening. Not anytime soon. And that's just not because I don't trust that woman. It's just traumatic. I know, I'm probably sharing a little bit too much. You know, there's a podcaster. She's on the West Coast. I think her name is Erica Shea. And I follow her. She's pretty good. And I think her podcast is called Oversharing. So, yeah, I tend to do that myself. What do they say? TMI? Too much information. Okay. Oh God. 9:06. Okay. I'm gonna wrap it up. I just wanted to say hi. It's been 5 or 6 days since I put an episode up, so I figured I'd give you my Friday night check-in. for those people who are following me. Yeah. All right, folks. I hope everything's good where you are, either the weather or everything's well. Listen, I'm going to always put this out there. Please, if you are struggling in any situation, if you're in trouble with drugs or alcohol, if you're struggling with a relationship or any mental illness, and you want just to talk to somebody, I am here. Reach out. You can get me on Instagram. You can get me on Gmail. All that info is in the show notes. And I'm on YouTube, and I'm working on a website, blah, blah, blah. I got all this stuff in the works. It's just going to take time. But please, feel free to reach out for anything. And if you want a tarot card reading, I'll do that for you too. But that's just a different Instagram account, different topic altogether. All right, folks. Anonymous Andrew saying, if it feels good, do it. But please, please, please choose wisely. Ciao.